Do you want to go flat hunting with me? Let's go. Before we get started on the actual contenders, I do have my notes here, so we need to go over some Wellington specifics when it comes to renting and flatting. Obviously, every city, every country has their differences, but these are some things that are crucial to know if and when you come flat in Wellington, which I'm expecting everyone does after watching this video. Anyways, let's get started with, in general, what the flatting process or renting process is like. We used mostly Facebook and Trademe as our main sources for looking at flat ads. You can easily just go on Trademe. I dare you to go on Trademe now and see what's out there. From there, once you find some flats that you want to go view, you contact either the broker, the landlord, or the existing tenants, depending kind of on what the situation is, and you book a viewing with them. You can also apply for a flat online without even seeing it, but that's a little bit risky, so I wouldn't suggest doing that. Please don't do that. There are some catfish flat things, apartment situations out there. Please don't do it. From here, you go view it, it's great, you apply online. It might take a little while for you to get shortlisted, and I'm talking like weeks up to a month. The flatting experience / flatting process, especially between applying and getting accepted, is very, very slow, so be prepared to wait. Also, one thing to note is that rent is paid every week here, so every rent price that I'm going to mention is going to be per week, not per month. Let's get into the reasons why we wanted to move out of this flat. First of all, the flat is lovely. Like, I'm not trying to shit on our living situation right now. I'm so grateful to have this current flat, and it's warm, it's really lovely and sunny. Like, I'm not trying to shit on this flat, okay? However, there's always some things that could be better. So here's just a few things, a few reasons why we were wanting to actually move out in the first place. So the first and main thing about this flat, the reason why we wanted to get out of here, is that the windows don't open, which is absolutely criminal. It feels a little bit illegal to me, genuinely. Like, speaking from the bottom of my heart, it feels a little bit illegal that the windows don't open. And yes, we do have like an in-unit AC, we have ventilation systems within the building, but that is literally just like the built-in ventilation system just circulates the air. It doesn't give us any fresh air. So the main reason why we wanted to get out of here is because we just want fresh air. And we knew that it would be really stuffy and hot in here in summer. When we were looking at these flats, it was like September, October. Going into summer, we wanted to get out of here by November, because we really wanted like an outdoor space or a balcony or even just openable windows for summer. Also, the current building that we are living in is a little bit sketchy. Like, we're on Dixon Street, which is very central Wellington. Q map, very central Wellington. Of course, it's gonna be a little bit loud. Of course, it's gonna be a little bit sketchy, but like, you get all of the amenities with it. Like, I can literally walk to New World in 5 minutes. It's so good. It's so good. Like, everything is close by. I really appreciate that. I really love it. Obviously, my campus, like Tauro campus, is 5 minutes away. So it's very convenient living in Central Welly, but also, let's get into it. Okay, let's get into our wants and needs lists. Obviously, we were looking for a 3-bedroom apartment. I live with 2 other lovely girlies. So 3 bedrooms, openable windows, or preferably even like a yard or a balcony or patio or anything to give us fresh air. At the very least, we wanted openable windows. Besides that, we did really want all the whiteware included. This is a very Wellington thing, I feel like, but some flats just don't come with any whiteware. So washing machine, dryer, dishwasher, fridge even. There's a space for them in the apartment, but no whiteware. Like, you have to bring your own appliances. Also, good sunlight, and the final most important thing is close to the bus, because especially since we were looking at like areas that were a little bit further away from central Wellington, and most of us for our jobs or me for uni need to be in central Wellington, it was very important to have like good public transport connections. For our wants, it was really important for us to have similarly sized bedrooms, because a lot of 3-bedroom flats can be like a huge master bedroom and then 2 really small like kids rooms. Besides that, we did kind of want an open layout lounge and kitchen. We do like to have some people over sometimes, so we did really want like a big lounge kitchen area so that we could still like host parties, dinners, whatever, have people over. Also, one thing about me is I hate carpet. Carpets are just like, they get so icky and you never know what's been in the carpet, and it's like, so an instant bonus for me was if the flat had hardwood floors. Okay, before we get into the actual flats, let's look at some of the areas that we were looking at when looking through the flat ads, the areas that we wanted to prioritize. First of all, we were still looking at Central Welly. I did mention that one of our flatties, Davey, wanted to get out of like the city bustle and hustle and move into more like a calmer, family-centered suburban area, but we were still looking at Central Welly. Besides Taro, we were also looking at Mount Vic, Mount Cook, Hataitai, Northland, and Karori. Hello, it's Editing Funson here. I don't know how I completely forgot to mention the budget that we had for this flat hunt. I don't know how it slipped my mind, but I'm including it here. Basically, the budget that we were looking at was anything between $750 and $800-ish a week. So divided between 3 people, that would be around $250 to $266, $270 a week is what we were wanting to look at. One thing to note is that Wellington prices and Wellington rent is notoriously high. So yeah, I do acknowledge the fact that we're fortunate enough to even live in Wellington, and usually people do find flat groups to live with just because it is way cheaper if you live with multiple people. And that's why it's very common in Wellington to see like groups of 8 or 10 people even living together in like huge houses, because it does get cheaper than living on your own. So let's start with our contestants. This is the most exciting part. As a little disclaimer, I do want to say that we didn't actually end up getting any of these flats. Some of them we did apply for, and I will tell you when we get to it. I'll tell you which ones we applied for. However, because of the current situation in Wellington real estate, it's very difficult to get approved for an apartment, so we didn't actually get any of them, hence why I'm still sitting in our current / old flat. I'm still making this video just as kind of an overview of what you can expect from Wellington flats, showing you a few examples in different areas. If this helps just one person out there or is interesting for one person out there, I'll be happy. So let's start off with some of our contestants. The first one is Mr. Nottingham Street, located in Karori. It's probably the furthest one that we're going to be looking at today. But some of the pros for this one was it was very sunny. It had a huge like patio outdoor space that got quite a lot of sun. The day we went to view it, it was rainy, but we figured the patio would get a lot of sun, which was a plus. It did have quite a big living space, which was also a plus. It did have hardwood floors, which in my book was already a big plus, like a huge bonus. It did also have a sunroom at the back of the lounge, which obviously could have given us a lot more space, and also kind of a half outdoor, half indoor space to use. And location wise, even though Karori is quite far, it's still really accessible with bus. It is a good 30-minute bus ride away, but it's still really accessible. And as soon as you walk into that area, you could tell that you're away from the city. Like, you could not hear anything, which was a little bit weird to me. I was like, this feels secluded. Like, this feels isolated a little bit. But it did have a really pretty bushwalk literally next door to that flat. That was a bonus. Close to the nature, very lovely, very pretty area for sure. But in the end, I feel like the location ended up being one of the reasons why we didn't actually apply for the flat, just because it was so far. It was also a little bit of a walk from the bus as well, so we would have needed to take the bus 30 minutes out of the city and then walk to the actual flat, which doesn't sound terrible, but when you're used to living in central Wellington, it is a little bit far. It also did not have any appliances. It didn't have a fridge or a washing machine or a dryer or a dishwasher, so we would have had to purchase all 4 of those and then install them ourselves, which was a little bit of a hassle. Additionally, some of the bedrooms were a little bit unequal in size. The 3rd bedroom was quite small compared to the 2 other ones, and they were also a little bit dark, which wasn't preferable, and it was a little bit old, which isn't really that big of a deal, and like everything in Wellington is old. But I personally was a little bit concerned about water damage and leaking, or it just being cold in general, which again is pretty common for Wellington flats and buildings to be cold and leaking, which I'm not saying it's a good thing, I'm just saying it's common. With all those cons combined, we did end up just leaving her. We did not even apply, and we moved straight on to the next one, which was Mr. Curtis Street. This one was in Northland, which is kind of between Karori and town, so still a little bit of a bus ride away, but it wasn't too terrible. For pros, this one was really spacious, quite sunny as well. It had both a front yard and a patio, and then a huge balcony off of the main bedroom, like master bedroom area. So lots of outdoor space, which was a bonus for sure. And the back balcony, we calculated, also faced south, so it would get a lot of sun. It did have 2 bathrooms as well. It was located on 2 floors, so it had an upstairs area with kitchen, 2 bedrooms, and the lounge, and then stairs downstairs to the master bedroom. It had a huge walk-in closet. It had new carpets, which, okay, I'm a carpet hater, but if the carpets are new and well taken care of, then I'm fine. My main thing with carpets is they're difficult to clean and they're usually very like crusty musty. However, these carpets were fluffy as hell, so I was okay with it. It was quite modern. I think it might have been recently remodeled as well, and it had a lovely view from the balcony. It was very close to the bus. It was up a hill. However, it was maybe like a 2-3 minute walk from the bus. It had heated floors in the downstairs bathroom. Let me tell you, that was luxury. That was great. And it also had a lot of storage. As I mentioned, it has a walk-in closet, which was just a lot of extra storage that we definitely needed and could have used. For the cons, however, it did not come with whiteware. It didn't have a washer dryer, and it didn't come with a fridge or a dishwasher either. So same thing as with the previous flat, we would have had to provide all of those. There was quite a big size difference between all of the bedrooms. So the downstairs main bedroom, master bedroom area was huge. It was literally could have fit all 3 of our beds in there. But also it was really open layout, so there was no privacy with that room. Like straight when you come down from the stairs, you were in the bedroom. And then the 2 bedrooms upstairs were quite small, specifically the 3rd one, which would have barely fit a bed, which was quite a big con for us. We were thinking of DIYing it and using the downstairs master bedroom as a lounge and separating part of the upstairs lounge into a 3rd bedroom, but it would have been too much work. And yeah, still it didn't fix the issue with the 3rd bedroom being really small. Yeah, it was kind of a mix of great pros but also really difficult cons. So we did end up applying for it, but we weren't accepted in the end. But yeah, let's move on to our next eligible bachelor. This is Mr. Hinao Road in Heke. This one wasn't my personal favorite out of all of them. However, it did end up growing on me. I could envision myself living there. I think what swayed me eventually was the huge backyard. Anyways, for the location, this one was really close to the Heke Mount Vic tunnel. So it wasn't too far from town. It would have only been like 10 minutes-ish to Courtney Place, which is quite good. It was not very far from the bus stop either, so that's a pro. It was very spacious. This was a detached house. It did have 3 bedrooms, which were all pretty equal in size, which is a huge pro. We couldn't really find that anywhere else. It had a front balcony and then a back kind of terrace, as well as a really big backyard. Obviously a huge pro for us. It did also come with 2 bathrooms, which is huge. Like it was gorgeous. It was great. And it had a downstairs little extra room that we were thinking we could use as a movie room. There was a whole vision for this extra downstairs room. This is kind of an unnecessary pro, but it did also have really pretty vintage accents. It had like decoration fireplaces in 2 of the bedrooms, which were really pretty, and in general it just had that like old house charm. For me personally, one of the bigger cons was the house was quite old, so again I was a little bit concerned with water damage, mold, or it being really cold in winter. But also it had a very strange layout. Like it had a downstairs area with one of the bathrooms and then the extra like movie room. Then you went up halfway through the staircase, and then the lounge was to your left, and then you had to walk up some stairs again and you come to this long corridor, and then off the corridor are all 3 of the bedrooms, and then at the end of the corridor is your bathroom, your main bathroom, and then the kitchen, and then the backyard. Like it was very confusing layout wise. It didn't really win me over is what I'm trying to say. The kitchen was also kind of small. We had been wanting a large kitchen because all 3 of us are big cooks, and also just the combination of the kitchen being really far from the lounge and then it being small was a little bit weird for me, because yeah, if we have friends over and we were cooking together, it really wouldn't have been enough space at all. But yeah, Davey and Anna both really liked it. I think I was the only one who really had any major doubts about this house, so we did end up applying for it. We didn't get accepted for it though. With this one, we really thought we would get accepted. We really thought this would be the one that we move into, but in the end they declined our application, so we had to move on to the next suitor, Mr. Curtis Street again, but this is a different Curtis Street. This is on the same street in Northland as number 2. For this one, it was west facing, which is a huge pro. It was really close to the bus as well, so it would have been obviously quite easy to get into town in the mornings. It had a really big kitchen. The kitchen was probably the biggest selling point. Even just looking at the ad online, I was like, we have to go see it just because this kitchen is so big. It did have a backyard as well, which was a bonus. It was in the bush. It was like located literally on a hill surrounded by greenery all around, which was great. It did have nice views as well as a big balcony, but the balcony faced the road, so it would have been a little bit noisy. Besides that, the bedrooms were very small. Like I don't think anyone, and it was all 3 of the bedrooms, I don't think anyone would have been able to fit their beds and desks in there. So that was a major con for us. And what's interesting is we went for like a group viewing, and there were a lot of other student groups coming in. So we thought we would have a lot of competition and probably not as big of a chance of getting that flat. So we ended up not even applying, even though it was a decent flat. All of these things combined, and the fact that we thought we still had other chances as well, we didn't actually end up applying for Mr. Curtis Street Part 2. Lastly, we have Mr. Elizabeth Street in Mount Vic. This one was great. It had a great location. Like, it was walking distance from our current flat now, which means it was right in town. It did have a private outdoor space in the back of the building and a really spacious lounge and kitchen area, and it had really pretty vintage accents. Again, this is my aesthetic side coming in. It did have really pretty interior like accents from being an old house. However, the main issue with this one was the fact that it was close to a big road, like close to one of the main roads in Wellington. So it would have been possibly really noisy because of that. And it was surrounded by, I think, 3 older, like abandoned buildings that they were actually planning on tearing down at the start of 2024. So that would have meant that if we moved into there and they started tearing down these buildings, it would be really noisy. And also considering the redevelopment of those lots as well, it would have been really noisy with the rebuilding of other probably apartment buildings, which for me was like the main reason I didn't really want to apply. It was also an older house. They had some water damage concerns. I remember talking to the landlord and she was like, oh, we need confirmation from the city council that we can actually start renting it out, because they were doing some renovations and they needed the final confirmation from the city council to actually be able to start renting it out. And the city council was supposed to come in the day after we viewed the place, but I think it was like over a week after we viewed it and they still hadn't gotten the confirmation. So for me, that was a red flag as well. Yeah, so due to those things, we weren't really that excited about this flat. We did still end up applying for it, but at the end we didn't get that one either.